without fats, our skin don't, we are broken into pieces. We cannot attach ourselves together. Huh? Our brain is the fattiest organ in our body. Up to 70% of it is fat. Okay, you do not want to have too little fat. Okay, so the reason why I'm telling you this, because a lot of people look at fat as evil. Oh, I got too much fat, evil. Okay, but when you don't have enough, problems begin to have to start, right? So the human composition, men are supposed to have at least 30% essential fat. That means you have to have this little 3% of body fat to stay alive. Women, 12% essential. Then there's the non-essential. These are stored fat as a reserve. In case you have no food, you will release this fat. And for women, it's 15%. Okay, so this is the amount of fat you're supposed to have. So total, men should have about 15% enough already. Women, 27% enough. So women are a bit fattier. That's for birthing reasons and all those things. By the way, in the animal kingdom, the female is supposed to outlive the males because of production reason. So on average, the public in the last 18 years, men, by the time they reach us, 25-30%, you put them on a scale. Let's not talk about the teenagers, talk about the men, working men. 25 to 30%. So it's way above that required, above the fat. You know? And women, between 30 to 35% is also above. Okay, I've seen some above 40%. Some ladies above 40% have. So the question here is, this fat is too much. Does it become a problem when it becomes too much? We don't know. Let's talk about it. Zulaiha is in. Hi, Zulaiha. Wave so that the host can see you. All right. So let me explain to you too low of body fat versus too high of body fat. Now, the basic three things you will have: hormonal imbalance, infertility, arthritis, osteoporosis. It's the same for when you have too high or too low. Do you know too low of body fat? This hormonal imbalance. A lot of female athletes, the young ones, of course, the female athletes are what I call having periods. They're menstruating. Do you know that when they are in a competition, their fat drop below certain percentage, their menstrual cycle actually stop? Okay, so it is an endocrine organ, fat. You cannot have no fat in your body, right? And of course, if you have too little fat, you have decreased nutrient absorption, constant fatigue, low energy, mood swings, heart problems, yes, absolutely. Decreased immune function, absolutely, because you need reserve. Decreased thyroid function, brain fog. Okay. Now, if you have too much, on the other scale, you got risk of obesity, and of course, related to the chronic disease like the three highs, the high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, etc., etc. Increased risk of cardiac disease, cardiovascular disease. Obviously, this is a very common one. And life expectancy tends to shorten. Immune system function. By the way, all those people who had COVID-19 in those days, when they were admitted to hospital, 72% of them in ICU deemed to be overweight or obese. High body fat seems to store a lot of toxins. So it affects the immune system. Yes, it does. Risk of dementia, absolutely. Okay, and brain damage, because it communicates with the brain, right? Risk of certain cancers. This is one of the most common ones. Certain cancers you can get because too much fat. How do I know? Oncologists are always warning people, your cancer is in remission. Please lose the fat. If not, it will come back. Okay, and for example, somebody who's too little fat is this influencer who is a fruitarian. She only eats fruits. Okay, and this one is a Chinese influencer who got herself. They are only in the early 20s. This one, it's quite pretty. And if you're very young but you're too skinny, you will look old because the skin will all sink in. By the way, both of them are technically dead. She died of starvation. She died while she was eating in front of the video. She just dropped it. Right, so the thing here is, we do not want to be in extreme ends. We want to have somewhere in the middle. But here's my question to you. I hope you can respond to me. Here's my question to you. In society today, which one is more common? Under fat or over fat? Too much fat or too little fat? Which is more common? Too much. It's very difficult for somebody who has too little fat in the body. It's very difficult, especially in society where we have we are eating processed food and all this. It's very difficult. So our main problem in 99% of the problem of fat problem is always over, too much fat. And be reminded, I said too much fat, I didn't say fat person. Okay, you can be a slim person, but you have too much body fat. It's called skinny fat. Okay, so my definition is very clear. Especially the older women, or older men, they may look slim, but their muscle content is extremely low and their fat is extremely high. This is also overfat, and that's not ideal at the same time, right? So remember, I'm not talking about overweight, I'm talking about overfat. Okay. So, because of this, let's take a look at what causes obesity. What causes people to have too much fat? You have things like genetics. Now, genetics is a very rare occurrence, very rare 0.00 something percent that you genes, that's why you're overweight. So let's not talk about this one. It's very, very rare. Overeating, especially the wrong food, is a very common one. Hormones, yes. Anybody been for IVF injection or hormonal treatment, you just blow up. Medication, steroids, the prednisone and all this, you take it, your body will swell, you just put on weight. And other hosts, I think the pharmacists in this group will know what other drugs will cause people to put on weight. Smoking, yes, of course. Insufficient sleep. If you have done everything right and you're not sleeping, you'll find it very difficult to lose the weight. And of course, overeating and sweetened drink is, people don't see sweetened drink and that's dangerous. Actually, it's extremely dangerous. We used to drink water. People don't drink water right now. And one of the worst drinks ever invented is called a bubble tea. Okay, if you're still drinking bubble tea, please stop it. That thing is damn toxic. Okay, and of course, sedentary lifestyle. Okay, not only we go to supermarket, we go and buy all the nonsense. We one step further, we get the Grab to buy nonsense for us. We don't even want to move. Okay, we got Grab to go and buy bubble tea, bring over to the house. I've seen people buy bubble tea they don't even want to move. They don't even want to move. Okay, to drink such a dangerous one. If they jog all the way to the shopping center, buy one bubble tea, jog back, still not too bad. But they just sit at home, get a Grab, send one cup of bubble tea and they'll pay for it. Now, a lot of people think, but I'm very careful with what I eat. Okay, I'm very careful. Let's take a look and see how careful you may be eating. One, this is the modern peach. Okay, it's about 100 mm in diameter. It has a stone that is a stone or called a seed. That's 10% and the rest are edible meat. But a lot of people say fruits are healthy. But do you remember when fruits were defined as healthy, it was the original fruits. A peach used to have to be 25 mm in diameter and the stone is 36%. The rest is, today we cultivate until the peach like that and we still think it's a healthy food and we swallow it. Do you know it's loaded with sugar? A lot of people didn't know that. Do you know that corn did not exist? Corn did not exist until human beings put a finger on it and cultivate it. So a lot of people are eating, this is natural food. There is nothing natural today. Okay, I've never ever seen the size of a Fuji apple. It's very scary. The natural apple is as big as a large toe. Okay, I just came back from Penang. I went to eat the Michelin nasi lemak, very small triangular thing. It was excellent, yummy. When I was a kid, everybody was young. Nasi lemak used to be peanut, anchovy, and the most one piece of kuning fish, deep fried kuning fish, and the rest is all rice. Today, if you go and eat nasi lemak, it's called nasi kanda. And this nasi kanda looks like it's swimming in oil. Okay, it's swimming in oil. Gravy lah, don't know what. It's scary. The food has changed. I thought this nasi kanda thing, when I saw on YouTube, I thought they were just doing it for YouTube. But when I asked Willing, he said it's real. And I went there, I saw it with my own eyes. I don't know how these people, they are eating it on a daily basis. Why are they still alive? I have no idea. Okay, what about bread? This is what bread used to look like, and this is what people used to eat on bread. But what about today? Must look pretty, must be loaded with cream, must have this, must have that. Do you have any idea that what we are eating is not bread anymore? So people think that we're still eating natural food. There's nothing natural about our food. And therefore the whole world is just simply blowing up. And I'm showing you this, and there's a lot more. So you know that it's not easy. Ask you to eat this is not easy. All right. So the number 2 organ. So we have spoken about the first organ. Now that organ, when you become obese, it drives you nuts, isn't it? It drives you nuts. How does it drive you nuts? High blood pressure, high cholesterol. Kidney failure is linked to obesity. Kidney failure, okay? Liver failure is linked to obesity. Stroke, heart attacks, all these are linked to obesity, okay? Knee injury, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is linked to obesity because the weight is grinding on the kneecap, etc., 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 including cancer. Okay, so we need not emphasize too much of when you have too much fat, too much of the organ. Okay. Now the other organ number 2 is actually the body muscle, and a lot of people did not know that the body muscle is actually an organ. What is the function of a skeletal muscle? Very simple. It provides you with movement. That is obvious, isn't it? It gives you a very good. Now, if your muscle has shrunken, those people who always without injury, without no rhyme or reason, one day you wake up, neck pain, back pain, knee pain, ankle pain, backside pain. It's because your posture affected by your lack of muscle is affecting the joints. That's why you're aching all over the place with no rhyme or reason. Of course, if you have injury, you'll know why, but with no rhyme or reason, you wake up just here pain, there pain. It's all because of the posture, and posture is largely managed by the skeletal muscle. Okay, joints, of course, the osteoarthritis and all this, and of course, heat. The more muscle you have, you tend to be able to maintain your heat better. Okay, the lesser muscle you have, the colder you are, the lower temperature it is. So that's a function of the skeletal muscle. So what happens when we lose too much muscle? Yeah, all pain, whole body all pain. For those of you who are having here pain, there pain for no rhyme or reason, you know, one of those things we need to do is, even our health promotion board in Singapore is urging a lot of people to build your muscle, especially the older folks. Build your muscle. Okay, you will feel very heavy and you feel slow. Okay, even when you're skinny, you'll feel heavy because the muscles supports the joints, and if it's not supported, everything will land on a joint. Okay, drop in metabolism, very easy to gain weight. When muscles don't grow, remind this. Let me give you this line: when muscle don't grow, fat won't go. So if you spend your whole life trying to manage your weight, you realize you've forgotten to grow your muscle weight. That's why you keep blowing up. Okay. Hyperglycemia, muscles is the organ that sponges up your blood sugar, your glucose in your bloodstream. Especially after you eat, you go and walk, it sponges up. But when you don't have enough and you're consuming that kind of sugar in your food, the carbohydrates, the starch and everything, there's too much, so you tend to get a lot of blood sugar in your bloodstream. It's called hyperglycemia. Okay, and you're prone to falls. I just met up with a friend who just fell. His 2 hands went numb. He just turned 61. He fell. He hurt his neck, spine and his neck. His 2 hands were so painful he cannot move. Landed in the hospital. He had to get a male nurse to bath him, clean his backside because he cannot use his hands. Okay, just because he fell. And he's losing a lot of muscles, obviously, because his back is already a bit humped. Okay. Prone to organs weakening. By the way, all your organs, including your heart, liver, lungs, they are all muscle. When your muscles shrink, all these muscles shrink accordingly. You do not want your organs to shrink. Okay, it's pumping your blood all over the place. So we have to keep this muscle up. So it's not good to have the muscle dropping. Okay, and muscle atrophy. What is it caused by? What causes muscle to shrink? It could be inflammation. Okay, when you put a piece of donut in your mouth and you swallow it, your body goes through 4 to 5 hours of chronic inflammation. Inflammation happens every day, and it's mostly contributed by your gut, by the way. Malnutrition, of course, you're not eating your protein. Asians, especially Asians, you're seriously under eating your protein. Okay, immobility, sit down, don't move, it contributes. Now, how many of you seen somebody who has a broken arm and they cast the arm? 6 months later, they remove the cast. You realize that the arm that has been cast is much smaller than the other arm that has not been cast. The very moment you stop moving, the muscle will atrophy, meaning the muscle will shrink. So you have to move. Where you don't move, the muscle will shrink. Okay? And the part of the muscle that people mostly don't move is the entire back muscle, because we sit on a chair and we lean down on a chair with a backrest. So we don't use our back muscles very often. Okay? Of course, high blood sugar damages the mitochondria, which is what you saw in the last talk. Okay, medication, yes, it does do that, and so forth. So a lot of reasons why our muscle goes, and you know, all these are very scary. It causes us to have very bad health. Okay, and what's the third organ? It's called the digestive system. Now this one is quite extensive. Our digestive system is the third organ. If you have heard of this Chinese phrase, 要治病先治胃. You want to treat any diseases, you treat the gut first. If your gut is not healthy, nothing is in order. Okay, so the gut, number one thing I want to present to you is very simple. The gut and the brain communicates. Okay, I've never seen somebody with a stomach ache who is in very good mood one. I've never seen this before. Okay, and there are people who are so nervous. Going to say nervous is a brain thing, right? So nervous they get a stomach ache. Sometimes they vomit. What is it got to do with the stomach? Because the stomach and the brain is totally connected through a vagus brain. Okay, stomach is also the intestine side is also called the second brain. Very important, huh? And by the way, ultra processed food linked to poor mental health and physical health. So you're putting the wrong stuff in your stomach, it goes into your head. Okay, children's depression, all these are due to processed food. Oh, by the way, 95% of serotonin is produced in the gut. 70% of your body immunity is in the gut. Gut contributes a majority of your body inflammation, okay, and so forth. So therefore, very important, one of the only two contacts with the outside world, the gut. The other one is of course the lung. Okay, it is the most abused organ in our whole body, because we throw in things like a rubbish can. We behave like a rubbish can. We throw in rubbish. Okay, there are people who say, I want to eat natural food, then they eat noodles, bread, cakes, biscuit. All these are natural food, man. I've never seen them grow out of a plant, man. Okay, roti canai is not natural food, it's man-made. Right? You want to eat natural food, you go and catch a rat and bite the fella. Of course, I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm just joking, right? You know, there's a difference between what's natural and what's not natural. Huh? Okay, so the three most common types of gastrointestinal issues, which they call IBS in general, irritable bowel syndrome. The three most common type. One is dysbiosis. That means the bad bacteria is more than the good bacteria in the stomach. The other one is called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and the third one is called leaky gut. Let me explain to you one at a time. This is a healthy gut. Most of the bacteria should be in your colon. Okay, a little bit of the bacteria is in your small intestine. Somebody with SIBO has a lot of bacteria growing in the small intestine. Okay, after every meal they get bloated, very seriously bloated. They get discomfort. Sometimes they get constipation, or they get diarrhea, suka constipation, suka diarrhea. And when they bloat, their stomach really juts out after every meal. It's a very serious problem. So this is something that is called SIBO. It should be treated by nutrition and lifestyle. It cannot be treated with a drug. Right? And you know, SIBO gets all this problem: constipation, bloating, diarrhea, vitamin deficiency, gas, and the gas cannot come out. That's the worst part. All right. And how do you get SIBO? Very simple. Your intestine, the muscles getting a bit slow, so your bowel is moving too slowly. Your stomach acid drops. Some people, better still, go and take antisip, drop the stomach acid further. When the stomach acid drop, bacteria survives in the upper intestinal tract. It grows, then everything you eat, it bloats. Okay? And then of course you get SIBO after that. You get inflammation, sensitive, whatever, blah, 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 everything. All right? So what can you do about SIBO? Short term, go and see a doctor. They'll give antibiotics, clear the whole bacteria, give you something for your constipation, whatever it is. Long-term solution is to do intermittent fasting, so that your upper intestine becomes more acidic, slowing the growth of bacteria. And if you go and Google low FODMAP foods, there is such set of food, FODMAP, FODMAP. When you Google this, these are the foods when you eat, not so sensitive. Your body can digest one. The high FODMAP is those food that you should not be eating if you have very serious bloating problem. And of course, cut down on fiber. Of course, fiber is good for the stomach, but when you're SIBO, the more fiber you eat, the worse it gets. Okay, that's why it's very difficult to treat. And I would strongly recommend that you take a product called Reset. We will explain to you later to manage the gut flora. Now let's talk about small intestinal lining. This intestine, small intestine, the inside looks like this, and it's not a flat intestine. There's a lot of hair, micro hair. Okay, this hair lining there, and on top of this hair lining, this micro hair, there are cells that are tightly bound together. Okay, so this is how the lining of your stomach looks like. Now, when you have bacteria that's balanced, good bacteria, a lot of good bacteria, very little bad bacteria, you're supposed to have a stomach lining like this. This is your bloodstream. It's so tightly bound, nothing gets in except food that you're supposed to digest and absorb will get in. Okay. Then you have something called dysbiosis, where you have a lot of bad bacteria and very low good bacteria. The surface begin to get damaged and things start to leak in. If you don't deal with it and your diet is bad, you can get something called leaky gut, where the cells start to separate. Nonsense start to leak into your bloodstream. Inflammation, etc., goes crazy. Fatty liver, inflammatory disease, autoimmune disease, neurodegenerative disease, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity start to occur. Okay, that's why you see some people who are relatively slim, but because they have a bad gut, they get heart problem. And they say, I'm not obese, how can I get a heart attack? Blah, blah, blah. How can I get fatty liver? Because they have something called a leaky gut. And it's all caused by all this food and stress. Stress, I can't help you. You got to fire your boss. There's not much I can do to help you. Okay? And allow me to introduce two important bacteria. One is called Firmicutes. The other one is called Bacteroidetes. Okay? Firmicutes is a bacteria that you don't want to have too much of. And what scientists found is this Firmicutes cause insulin resistance and inflammation. And the people who have all this bacteria in the stomach tends to be overweight. They cannot lose the weight. Those with Bacteroidetes tend to lose weight. And what scientists do is they take this bacteria, they put in a skinny person, take that bacteria, put in a fat person, the fat person lose weight, the skinny person gain weight. So it is not the genes that you inherit from your parents. Two reasons, when your parents are fat, you're also fat. Because you have the same bad eating habits, that's number one. Number two, you inherited the bacteria. It's not the genes. Don't blame genes. It can be altered. So this is called a dysbiotic microbiome. That means you're more bad bacteria. All right. So this kind of dysbiosis of bad bacteria, it comes in 26 different symptoms. That's why it's so difficult to diagnose. It can be everything and anything. And please don't diagnose yourself. Oh, I have dysbiosis. Go and see a doctor, please. Okay, because it can be anything. Okay, so that's why it is very difficult to diagnose dysbiosis symptoms. Okay, nobody wants to just give you an antibiotic and clear the whole thing. That's all they do, clean everything out. Could you imagine you want to get rid of mosquito, you just cut away all the trees. Instead of selectively dealing with the cut, that's what they do when they give you antibiotics. Okay, so of course, when you have leaky gut, again, your skin. A lot of people got skin issues, suddenly the flare up and all this is a stomach issue. Colon, constipation, diarrhea, thyroid issues is related to the gut, adrenals, the brain, 95% of total serotonin. If you have a sleep issue, it has a lot to do with your gut health also. Those people with sleep issue. Please try not to go into sleeping pills unless absolutely necessary by your doctor. If not, don't ask for sleeping pill for the sake of asking for sleeping pill. Go and treat your gut first. Sinus, infections and so forth. Rheumatoid arthritis and all this. Right? So, the solution for the three areas, this is called the triangle of hope. Deal with your fat cells, reduce your fat cells to the ideal stage, increase your muscle as much as possible. Right? You don't have to go to bodybuilder level, but increase your skeletal muscle. And of course, take care of your digestive tract. 90% of all your medical issues will suddenly, surprisingly disappear. How do I know? When a doctor issue a high blood pressure drug, they'll say, here's your high blood pressure drug, it's called beta blocker, but lose some weight. Here's a diabetic drug, by the way, lose some weight. Here's a cholesterol drug, by the way, lose some weight. Oh, congratulations, your breast cancer is in remission. By the way, lose some weight. If not, you'll come back. That's how I know. It's connected to everything. So I think we need to be very serious about these three organs. Increase the muscle, lower the fat cells, and treat your gastrointestinal tract. 90% of the issues are gone. Okay. So the quick solution of poor gut health is, of course, to consult a doctor, eradicate the discomfort like pain, churning, bloating. Okay. Long term is to cut down on dairy, sugar, and gluten. Cut it down. Your intestine tend not to leak. Okay. And of course, may I suggest reset and probiotic PCC is a bacteria. How do you do that? This is a normal intestine. This is an intestine that has leaky gut. Okay. Put a layer of plaster called anthocyanin layer. It's a purple antioxidant. This layer will cover your injured intestine. Okay. By the way, when your intestine is leaky, from one extent minor to severe extent, you won't feel it. You won't know. Everybody's gut is damaged. Okay, this is like a plaster. It's anthocyanin. It's a purple antioxidant. It helps you to repair your gut. It helps you to get rid of the bad bacteria like the Firmicutes range, and it helps you to feed as a prebiotic for your good bacteria. Right? And of course, you want to put in a layer of good bacteria that is antibiotic resistant, that's acid resistant, so it remains there, right, in your gut. Right. So what is reset? Reset is a purple anthocyanin that we bottle up. Okay, 12 weeks of clinical trials of somebody consuming reset found that there is a reduction in the Firmicutes bacteria and increase in bacteroidetes. So it helps you with your dysbiosis issue. Fatty liver comes down. Water retention comes down. When water retention comes down, and if somebody is sick, they tend to have water retention, bloat up. If your body is well, especially your stomach, you tend not to have a water retention issue. Okay, and we need about 215 milligrams of anthocyanin every day. A normal adult, general, consumes about 25 mg. Okay, this anthocyanin, there are two strains. One is called cyanidin, the other one is called diphenhydin. It's extracted from blackcurrant, bilberry, especially black rice. Okay, some people say, why do I eat black rice? 215 milligrams of black rice anthocyanin. I say after you probably consume 2 kilos at every meal of black rice, you will look obese before you get a good stomach, So it is not possible. We concentrate it in 2 soft gels, you swallow it, everything is done. It protects your gut very well from the inside out. Okay, and as for the muscle and fat, most people lose weight by losing weight. Okay, they starve themselves, they lose the fat, they lose the muscle. After they starve themselves, they go and eat again, bomb, the whole thing blow up. Okay, what you need to do is to starve your fat and feed your muscle, so you don't go through a hunger diet plan. Don't do that. Feed your muscle, starve your fat. Your muscle will be able to manage your body very well in future. That is the strategy. Okay. And the 3 sustainable weight management one is, number 1, people talk about calorie in and calorie out. This method has been outside there for a very long time. They go exercise, they cut their food, they cut carbohydrate. This is the calorie in, calorie out diet. But I got news for you. 50% of the time, it does not work. 50%, it does not work. Why? Because there's such thing as insulin. What is insulin management? One large apple is 100 calorie. One can of Coke is also 100 calorie. Tell me, are they the same? Do they look the same to you? They are different. They work on the body differently. But to the calorie counters, they are the same. That's why 50% of the time it didn't work. Okay, so you got to look at insulin. Number 3, metabolic health. Your metabolic health is something that we need to improve first before you start to lose weight. If you don't improve your metabolic health, you're simply losing weight. It will come back again. It will rebound again. There's no long-term sustainability. So when we treat your metabolic health, the first thing you'll do notice in the first 2 weeks is after lunch, you don't feel so sleepy anymore. And your energy remains there after work. Then we manage your insulin. When we manage your insulin, the stomach will come down first. Then we manage your calorie. The whole body comes down. All right? So what is this program? This program consists of burn fat, feed the muscle, treat your gastrointestinal tract for 90 days. All right? A pair of coaches will be attached to you to teach you a set of eating plan without hunger. The truth is this: in the 3 months when you're on this supplements, we will teach you a habit that you can sustain for life. There is no such thing as a magic pill. It does not exist. Okay, we will teach you a plan for you to become a habit so that it stays with you. That habit in 3 months is supposed to sustain you long term. That's the honest truth, right? And we will teach you some strategy. Some people ask me, strategy? Isn't eating plan a strategy? I say no. Strategy is this: we're going to assume that you're going to continue and go for a holiday lah, welcoming party lah, farewell party lah, somebody give birth lah. Chinese, we pass away still got food to eat one, the wake, the funeral wake got makan one. Okay, and your birthday celebrate 2 weeks, right? This batch of friend, that batch of friend, never end one. Hari Raya, then after that Christmas, after Chinese New Year, don't know what, and then after go for cruise. Okay, these are not going to end. Instead of avoiding this social life, we teach you how to handle this social events so that you are sociable. That's how to sustain. Eventually, your habits will take over the products. Okay, the coach will volunteer to coach you once a week if you choose to do so over Zoom. And of course, if you're in the local country, we can meet you 3 times to measure your body analysis, what you call a body nutritional level, which we need a special machine. All right. So this is what we call a holistic approach. Weight loss is not a single approach. It's a holistic approach. You got to deal with everything. You got to deal with your brain. We have inside that product something called Jumpstart. It manages your mood as well as increase your metabolism. It breaks your fat into water and carbon dioxide very quickly. Okay, and it's only the last 2 weeks. It has something called a trim shake. It is a whey protein to help feed your muscle. We are not eating enough. Even when we're eating enough protein, you're not eating enough digestible protein. So whey protein is the most digestible protein available. Feed your muscle, grow your muscle. And of course, we have My Age. My Age blocks starch, carbs, and sugar. You can't avoid these 3, right? The only way you can avoid these 3 is keep yourself in a box. Okay, then you can avoid these 3. And of course, we have a control to regulate your blood sugar and mood. When your mood is good, it's easier. So there's a lot of brain support, by the way. And of course, something to manage your metabolism and hold on to your muscle. And reset to treat your gastrointestinal health. There is no such thing as a unidirectional weight management. When you have a multi-dimensional weight management, it is more complete, it is more sustainable. All right. So now I would like to invite this young lady. Her name is Zulaiha. She won our grand champion quarter. When we sent her for competition, she lost a total of almost 15 kilos. You see, we are so honest, 14.9. We don't do rounding up one. And her fat loss is 9.7. She won. Today, that was in what was that, in March or May? That was in May, isn't it? I don't quite remember the date. Today, she has lost a total, continue to come now, 26.4 kilos and 23 kilograms of fat. She gained 6% of muscle. Now, I'd like you to remember what her face looked like when she first started. Okay, this is what she looks like. And so without further ado, I'd like to invite Miss Zulaiha to share with you her PGU journey. Zulaiha, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Oliver, for inviting me. So, actually, like, for example, right, Oliver's sharing, right, is actually the sharing that you get also during this PGU. So I actually really appreciate this kind of sharing from him and Glenda. So how did I get to come to know about PGU? Actually, previously, I had actually taken the TRA program with Oliver's group also, with Oliver and Glenda's group. So I experienced a lot of success with it previously also. Then, but of course, over the years, like for example, a lot of like bad habits started creeping in. So I knew that I could go back to this program. And when I got back to this PGU program, I find that, okay, with the innovations, the program is even better now. All right. Okay, so what's the reason for me taking up this Project Glow Up? Okay, so for me, like for example, I realized I had to get back to me lah. That I method, my health, my well-being, my ability to show up for my family was important. So I wanted to get back that energy and that vitality and that strength because I'm 52 years old. So it's like, I wanted to prove to myself that, like, for example, at 52 years old, I don't need to have that, okay, creaking knee, the knee pain, high blood pressure. I was on high blood pressure. I took five, before Project Glow Up, I realized, hey, I went back to taking five high blood pressure pills, okay, related to high blood pressure for cholesterol, for high blood pressure. For the one that Oliver was talking about, the kidney, my kidney also was affected. It was leaking protein. Okay, so um, I was on five pills that I had to take every morning. So I said, this is it. Okay, I had to go back to the group and I took this up. So I'm very happy to say, I'm not saying that when you take this, it will help. I mean, if you have the same problems as me, all right, that it directly helps. But definitely the program, right, helped me to change my lifestyle such that I'm very happy to tell you that I'm totally off these five pills. And it's not on my own. I went back to the doctor to actually say, because I was starting to have low blood pressure. Okay, so when I went back to the doctor, then the doctor said that actually, right, with your change in lifestyle, all right, let's try to take you off the pill. So, after 2 months, I went back to have the a confirmation with the doctor after the test, and yeah, now I'm officially off the my high blood pressure meds and my cholesterol meds. Okay, so, with regards to how easy it was to follow the program, okay, number one is that, like, for example, because the nutrition is science backed, right? So you find that, like, for example, when you follow the program, that it really helps. Okay, so I previously had this idea, oh no, must take supplements. So supplements is something like pills, but actually it's not. It's not pills. So, like, for example, the what's your Oliver, the one that I love, the 14-day one, the one that you take for 2 weeks, the jumpstart.
Jumpstart.
I
Jumpstart.
love jumpstart. So jumpstart has actually grapefruit in it, right? So can you imagine, like, for example, if we really wanted to take the natural grapefruit, every day you have to take that grapefruit out, you have to, like, take it out and take the essence out of it. But, like, for example, now it's packaged for you so nicely inside. Okay, so, like, for example, my view of supplements has actually changed. Like, for example, supplements just make it easier for us to get all the nutrients that we need in our daily life, and it has been put in a pill. All right, and because the pills are science backed, they don't put any other drugs inside. You know that it really is from, okay, the food, the natural food that it was extracted from. Okay, so as what Oliver said, that, like, for example, during the program, right, what worked for me was the conversations, like, for example, of how to deal with life. That means you're not only just taking these supplements and, like, for example, being on your own. You actually have to have these conversations about how you're going to handle social situations without feeling awkward. Okay, so, like, for example, what food do I bring out? How do I deal with, for example, eating with because now I'm on a course, right? So I've actually developed, together with what I learned, I also developed my own ways about how to, when on course, right, I can, like, take out my food and, like, for example, supplement it with whatever I want to buy from the food court, for example. So I still am within that I still go out with my classmates to eat, but it's just that I brought some of my food. Usually it is the veg, because I find that outside now, right, the veg is of poorer quality than what I can bring on my own. And then I supplement it with, for example, whatever delicious white meat or protein that, okay, I can find. Okay. Also during the program, okay, like, for example, planning my meals. We even have, like, the supermarket trips, which I found very, very useful. Like, for example, what foods to, like, for example, to not be fooled by, like, for example, all these companies that claim that there's so many things in their food, but actually it's not. So I actually learn all these things from the program, okay, which is very, very useful. So as what Oliver said that like for example for my results, right? So now I don't look at overall weight loss anymore. Now my goals have changed. Now I'm working towards like for example my body fat. So as like for example what was shared was that and what I've learned is that optimal body fat for percentage for females is 27%. So I'm working towards it. So I moved from 46%, 45.3%, I think, to 32.1%. So I'm on the way there. And I'm also looking at my muscle, my skeletal muscle percentage from, so far I've gone from 19% to 25.3%. Okay. And I'm going towards the goal of, right, 27%. So, all right, with these numbers, what's the difference in me? I feel stronger, definitely more energetic. Like for example, previously, right, when I go jogging or I walk, right, my knees actually make that clicking sound. So it's like, so it's like, yeah, now it's like, I can go for my jog every day. I can go for a 3 kilometer jog, and I'm very, very happy to squat. So people say, why are you so happy to squat? Because previously, when I squat, right, I could not squat, or when I bend down, right, there's a lot of pain. So now I feel joy in squatting because I don't feel pain.
Hey, don't
Yeah,
squat in Orchard Road.
I find opportunity to squat lah. So it's like, yeah, yeah. So um for me all right, I don't think I'm in the point at the maybe I come from the point of my own experience lah. There's no perfect time to start. Okay, the perfect time is just now, and the important thing is to find the right community, the right coaches to help you with the program because the products are amazing. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much, Zulaiha. That was amazing sharing. Okay, I mean, although I coached you, but Glenda and myself coached you, but we didn't hear the amount of benefits you've gotten so far. I'm glad you can squat. I'm glad you can squat. It's called the Asian squat, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if you can relate to this, call the person who gave you this link and ask them to show you the program. Okay, better still, just say I'm on and just do it. Why is there to hesitate? 3 months, you probably living up to 90 years old anyway, you got many years to go. Just do 3 months of training and you have those skills for life. Look at how great Zulaiha looked. Did you see her previous face and her face right now? Did you see? Did you see her previous face? I show you again. Can you see this face? You look at her face
Ayo,
right now.
I don't like that photo. Okay, I keep telling Oliver and Glenda I hate that photo. Okay,
Well,
anyway.
it's now a very precious photo. Okay, you can see how tired your face was, how bloated it was. Look at you right now. You look like a kid. Okay, it's called a former glory. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Um, that's all